They told her she wasn't built for it, not directly, but in the way they looked at her, like a glass trying to be a hammer. Too fragile, too emotional, too average, too ordinary. Her name was Emily Carter, and she was from a town no one talked about unless it was storm season or football playoffs. Maple Ridge, Kansas. Population 4,200 on a good day. 3 gas stations, 1 high school, 0 chances to be extraordinary. But Emily didn't need much. She had a backpack, an old laptop with a cracked screen, and something no one could see. Fire that refused to die at 17. While others dreamed of prom or parties, Emily was learning to code on a dial-up internet connection in her parents' trailer. While her friends scrolled social media, she was teaching herself how to build an app, not to get rich, but to solve a problem. The problem? Her mom, after a car accident, left her mother struggling with short-term memory loss. Simple things, appointments. Taking pills, remembering dates became a daily challenge. They couldn't afford a nurse, and Emily couldn't watch her mom slip away piece by piece, so she built something. A simple app that used voice reminders, GPS tracking, and a gentle tone. That sounded almost human. She named it Remember Me. She didn't think it was special until the school counselor, whose dad had early Alzheimer's, tried it and cried until the local paper ran a story. Until her inbox was filled with messages from strangers across the country. But with attention came fear. What now? What next? Emily was still broke. No investors, no degree, no Silicon Valley startup hoodie. Just a girl with a cracked laptop and a mother who needed her. And so, the world tested her. She applied to 3 startup pitch competitions, got rejected from all of them. She emailed 50 tech mentors, 49 never replied. One told her she was too small to scale. She posted on forums, LinkedIn, Reddit, anywhere someone might listen. Most comments were polite, some were brutal. You're not a real founder. This is just a school project. Cool idea. But who would actually use it? But Emily kept building. Nights bled into mornings. Coffee replaced sleep. Her grades slipped. Her friends disappeared. Her father warned, "You're wasting your time." Still, she showed up every day. And then, a crack of light in email from a local tech incubator in Denver. They had seen her story, liked the app, invited her to pitch. One catch: she had to be there in person. In 48 hours, she had no money for a plane, no car, barely $76 in her checking account, so she took a bus. 14 hours, 1 transfer. No sleep. She arrived in Denver with a backpack, a half-charged phone, and a heart full of thunder. She didn't wear heels. She didn't pitch like a TED Talk pro. But when she spoke, the room stopped breathing. She told them about her mom, about watching someone she loved disappear, one memory at a time, about coding between school lunch breaks, about staying up until sunrise, watching YouTube tutorials, with buffering wheels and blurry audio. And then she said this: "I didn't build this to raise millions. I built it because I couldn't lose my mom twice, once in the accident, and again to memory loss. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to ask you to believe that someone small can still build something big." The room went silent, and then applause. One of the judges, a quiet woman in her 50s who ran a mental health startup, stood up and said, "I lost my sister to dementia. I wish your app existed back then." She offered mentorship, funding, a seat at her accelerator. Emily didn't cry in front of them. But when she stepped outside into the cold Denver air, she did, because for the first time in her life, she wasn't invisible. The following months felt like a blur. Emily moved to Denver with nothing but a suitcase, her laptop, and a box of her mom's favorite tea. She rented a room in a shared apartment near the accelerator, worked part-time at a bookstore to cover food, and spent every spare second rewriting, rebuilding, and reimagining Remember Me in for the first time. She wasn't building it alone. The accelerator paired her with mentors, real founders who had pitched to VCs, lost millions, won battles. She had a team now. A UI designer from Oregon, a back-end dev from Ohio, even a marketing intern who believed in her idea more than she believed in herself. But the pressure? It was heavy. Investors wanted growth charts. Analysts wanted projections. She had to learn a new language, pitch decks, burn rates, user churn. And every time she logged into a video call, she was the youngest, the quietest, the least experienced. Sometimes, she'd sit on her apartment floor after a 14-hour day, eating canned soup, and whisper to herself, "I'm not ready for this." But something in her always pushed back. "But you're doing it anyway." So she stayed. 6 months into the program, she had 4,000 users. Most were caregivers, elderly users, PTSD patients, some from Kansas, some from Florida, even one from Scotland, who emailed to say, "This app reminded my wife to take her meds. You may have saved her life." But just when it felt like things were climbing, the fall came. A bug in the app's update caused voice reminders to glitch. Some users didn't receive their med alerts. 2 families reported serious incidents. A tech blog ran a hit piece, "Startup Fail, When Apps Forget." She was crushed. Social media turned. Investors paused. One even pulled out of the next funding round. Emily thought about quitting. She thought about packing up, moving back to Kansas, working at the grocery store, and pretending she never dared to dream beyond her zip code. Her mom, who still struggled with memory gaps, said, "Hey, sweetie, your app reminded me to call you today. You built something real. Don't let one bad chapter end your story." That call changed everything. Emily pulled her team together. They stayed up 3 nights straight. They rewrote code, tested every reminder, fixed every line. Then they emailed every user explaining, apologizing, owning it. No excuses, just honesty. And people responded. Not all of them, but enough. One investor wrote back, "Most founders run when things go south. You didn't. That's leadership." Another offered to match her next funding round by the end of that month. Remember Me was back, stronger, smoother, safer. But more than that, it was respected. And a year later, something happened that no one saw coming. The app was selected for a federal grant program supporting mental health innovation. That a Fortune 500 health tech company approached her. They wanted to partner, to license her platform into hospitals, nursing homes, veteran care centers. And when Emily stepped into that meeting, now 21 years old, wearing a thrift store blazer and secondhand heels, she didn't pitch like a nervous girl from Kansas anymore. She spoke like a founder. She didn't ask for approval. She didn't beg for belief. She shared her story, her numbers, her why, and she closed the deal. Her company didn't just grow. It became a movement. From a cracked laptop in a trailer to a national healthcare partnership, changing lives across the country. Years later, the world would know her name. They'd read about her in Forbes, watch her TED Talk, see her picture under headlines like "From Small Town to Startup Giant, the girl who cared enough to code." But Emily? She never forgot. She still kept that first cracked laptop, now framed in her office. Still walked into her Denver apartment some nights, sat by the window, and thought about the girl she used to be, the one who built software between homework and hospital visits. Because it wasn't the app that made her successful. It wasn't the headlines, or the investors, or the press. It was the moment she could have quit, but didn't. She was invited back to Maple Ridge High School to speak at graduation. The gymnasium looked exactly the same: folding chairs, basketball, hoops, sweaty air conditioning. She stood on the stage where she had once sat quietly in the back row, invisible, and she looked out at a room full of kids who were just like she had been dreamers, trapped in doubt. And she told them, you don't need to be special to start something big. You just need to care enough not to stop. She paused, looked at the audience, then said, when I was your age, I thought I was nobody. But being a nobody is a gift. No one expects you to succeed, and that means when you do, the world has no idea what hit them. The room exploded with applause, but one girl in the front row, she had tears in her eyes. Emily would later learn her mom had Alzheimer's too. And maybe, just maybe that girl would go home and start building something of her own, because that's how it works, right? One spark lights another. One story becomes someone else's turning point. And if you're listening to this now, wondering if you have what it takes, wondering if your little town, your small start, your broken family, your empty wallet, or your anxiety-riddled nights mean you're not made for something bigger, let Emily Carter's story tell you otherwise. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be perfect. You don't even have to be ready. You just have to show up. And not stop showing up. That's it. Because greatness isn't born, it's built. And it's built by people just like you. You.